Today, lawmakers in our state are fighting back against a Texas court's decision to eliminate access to abortion medication. Channel 3 Eyewitness News reporter Olivia Schuler joins us now live at the Capitol building in Hartford with what's expected from the meeting. Good morning, Olivia.
Hey, Marcy, good morning. Well, several lawmakers are calling Texas's decision a radical one. Now, lawmakers here in the state, including Attorney General Tong, say that he will stress today the importance of protecting abortion medication. Now, lawmakers in our state say they need to fight what they call partisan extremists who are attempting to control reproductive health choices. In our state, you can still access abortion pills, but late last week, Texas made an immediate decision to suspend the FDA's approval of mifepristone. Medical professionals on both ends have mixed reviews.
If the judge in Texas had actually listened to the doctors that tried to explain how safe these medications were, we wouldn't be in this predicament. We have to always trust science and know that these medications are safe and should continue to be available.
We are encouraged that the federal judiciary is finally taking a look at the approval of mifepristone and really holding the FDA to account.
Now, a judge in Washington ordered that abortion medication pills still remain accessible by 17 states, including Connecticut. Now, the meeting will be held today at the Capitol at 10 a.m. Reporting live in Hartford, Olivia Schuler, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.